Hi, it's been a couple of days. I have been on Mother's Day. I thought my allergies were acting up, and actually you can kind of hear it in my throat. I don't know what it was, a summer cold. I sounded like, you know, when you have babies and you can hear them breathing in their chest. I had that, and I had where I would cough all night long, and so I wasn't sleeping. So I feel a little bit better, but so I didn't film, because when you can't make it more than a few minutes without coughing while you're talking, not a good idea to film. I thought about doing one of my fast videos, but the creativity wasn't really with me either. So it's been a couple of days, but I'm back, and now I have 2 videos that I may try to get done today. I'll see if I can make it through this one without coughing, because you know, nobody wants to hear me cough. But I'm gonna do a card from the new catalog, and this starts on June 4th. I don't know why I keep saying June 3rd. It starts on June 4th. I think it's because the other one ends June 3rd. So, you know, I get my dates mixed up. I'm done with making anything from the current catalog. Although I do have I'm working on my blog post for the 10 things that I'll miss most. It's taken a while, and some of the stuff that was on my list has been sold out. But I am working on that blog post, so that's coming. If you're on my email list, you'll see it. Otherwise, you'll want to go over to my blog, because there won't be a YouTube post if you only follow me on YouTube. But once the blog post is up, I will let you know in a video to let you know where to go and check it. If you need this catalog, then comment below, and I will get you one sent. I'm going to the post office. That was the other thing. I haven't left the house, so I haven't been to the post office to mail the catalogs that are going out this week for those of you that purchase from my website. They will go out. I am going out tomorrow because I have to, because I have some things I have to get. But today, I have a super fun card. The reason I have to go out is we have a Stampin' Up Leaders event that's coming up with our Great Lakes leaders, and the wonderful Shannon West is coming to do an event with us. So I have to get some stuff for that. The card I'm going to show you today is actually my swap that I'll be making for that event. But I have to go get some candy for our candy bar and some pretzels and things like that I told Shannon I'd pick up. So I do have to leave the house tomorrow, so I'm also going to go to the post office. I thought maybe I could drag myself out today, but you know when you have been sick and you still get up in the morning and you're like, I feel pretty good, and then you get up and you're like, yeah, energy. So I'm still at the energy point. So tomorrow I'm thinking, I feel much better today, so I'm thinking tomorrow I'll feel better. And then on Saturday I have to feel my best because it's stamp day. So the card I'm doing today is my swap. It was a little ambitious because, you know, I was just sitting around, so I thought, well, I'll do a coloring swap. So I'm using a new bundle that's in the new catalog, but I'm not actually using the stamps. So the bundle is, I don't know what the bundle's called. You're gonna love, if you haven't seen the catalog, you're gonna love the layout. The bundles are all shown in the front with some beautiful, beautiful artwork. This catalog has the most beautiful artwork that we've had in years, at least. So I'm not using the stamps. I'm gonna use this die Fabulous, 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 fabulous. And anytime you see a die like this, you're like, yeah, I don't know. That could be difficult, not difficult at all. So I'm going to show you how super easy, and I would not be using it, trust me, if it was difficult on trades, because who's going to make a ton of these if it's hard to use? So these are the 2 pieces that come with it, and you can tell it doesn't cut anything out on this. So if the stamp images aren't your style, you can still get the dies, and you don't need to get the stamps. Then the stamps that I'm going to use are Butterfly Wishes. They don't have dies that come with them. They do coordinate with the current. This is in the current catalog, and it's carrying over the Butterfly Duo Punch. I think that's what it's called. And there's 2 stamps in it that go with it. So my original thought was that I was going to use these 2 and the cherry blossoms. And that was what I was going to use. It didn't end up, you know, when you kind of have a thought in your head, that's not what I used. So, now using the punch. So, I'll show you what I did come up with. It's super cute. And it's not taking that long, and this isn't a huge event, so I don't think everybody will swap. And if everybody does, not everybody's going to get my card, because I'm not doing it for everybody. So, let me show you what I did. I have them in various assorted, if you've not done swaps before, you know, you start out. So I did put all of my 8.5 by 11 paper and scored it at 5.5. So then when you cut it, they're already scored. So you're only scoring the big sheets. So I'm gonna fold this in half. So they were already scored, and they are cut long ways because I thought it worked better with the die, the way I was gonna use it. And then I'm using gray granite. I went through a couple of iterations of ink before I found the color that I really liked. My daughter was here, we tried, I didn't want black because this is a distinctive stamp, and it was too, I started too light, and then I went too brown. So gray granite was where I ended up because it's my favorite color. I don't know why I didn't start there. Because, you know, gray granite is a mix between brown. So you want this kind of far down. A couple of my swaps, you know, you get going and they moved too high to the top. And look how pretty that stamps. It's just gorgeous. So I also, after I found the color that I liked, then I also ended up kind of messing around with coloring it in because it's so pretty that you don't really want to lose any of the definition that the distinctive gives you because it has such color. And I have re-inked my ink pad from when I made them because it was getting lighter and lighter. But gray granite does dry lighter. And then on the inside, I guess I need to leave that open. There's some really pretty sayings that come in this kit. And on my blog, if you go over there, I'll take a picture of the stamp set. I can't show you the inside of the catalog yet. This one says, "It was a perfect day because of you." So I'm going to put that in here. And then there's another butterfly. This is not one that goes with the punch either. I'm just going to add that there. And again, super, super pretty. It stamps so pretty. So this is going to be darker because I re-inked it than my original samples. But I think it's going to work. I didn't re-ink my other ones because I kind of liked the lighter. But then as I stamped, you know, 20 of them, it got lighter. So it was a little bit too light. I mean, anytime you stamp the light colors, it's going to be darker. So this one will be, I'll take a picture of both of them and you can see it is going to dry lighter because this is the color that dries lighter. Then to color them in, I started with blends. Let me see if I have one of my scraps around. I know I do because I ended up stamping. There's some leaves that have, here's all the ones that I'm working on. Where'd it go? No, it's over here. So I did, you can see how much lighter these are. This is blends and it was covering up the definition. So I stopped the blends and I went to watercolor pencils. So for those, I just took, yeah, you feel like you have a hair touching your hand. Again, you don't want to cover it up. So I just lightly went over the areas where I wanted some color. And this one I can press a little darker because my ink is darker. And just kind of outlined it. And in the new catalog, if you remember back last fall, we had a second set of watercolor pencils that have more colors. And those will be back in the catalog. So if you missed those, you can get them. So now I don't have to, because I kept all of mine because I love watercolor pencils. Now I don't have to look before I do a video to make sure that I'm using colors that are still current, because they will all be current again. There are some colors in the punch box. I can feel my throat doing the throaty thing. That are in the occasions catalog right now, and I think it has some colors that are not in any, a lot of times they stick a special color in one of our kits, and there are some. So to do the butterfly, I'm kind of laying the pencil on its side and kind of brushing over, because you want orange, but you don't want it to color up again the definition of your stamp. And I will take a picture of these and put them on the website so you can see exactly what colors I'm using. And then I've just added a little highlight of crushed curry. which I know is one of the colors that is in the assortment 2 set of pencils, because it was like the color that we never knew we needed. And once you had it, it was hard not to use it. And then this is black. And I'm just going to add a little bit to his body, the butterfly body, and then just a little around the edges, just to kind of give it some definition, like where his black spots would be. And there are black spots in this, but it kind of just gives him some definition, just like that. So here we have that. And then to blend it, I'm going to take, okay, the reason I went with this, if I was just doing one card on this, I would have used a shimmer, migraine medicine and then cold medicine on top of it, or a cocktail for words. I'd take a preventative migraine medicine. Wink of Stella. I knew it would come to me. I would have used a Wink of Stella. The reason I went with an old Wink of Stella and my shimmer paint was because I was making 20 of these and I didn't want to, it would have used a whole Wink of Stella. If you're just doing one of these, then use just your Wink of Stella. But if you're doing a lot, then this will do the same effect. So just, this is an empty Wink of Stella, and I save them, because if you save them and put the lid back on, then you're not gonna use it, make a paintbrush dry up, and it is a perfect paintbrush tip. And this is, what color is this one called? It's the Champagne Mist, and it looks just like what comes out of the Wink of Stella. So just put it on and just blend around your colors. Again, I'm not going to go over everything. I'm not going to go over so the whole thing's shimmery. I just want it to a little bit blend those marks, the pencil marks. So just kind of put it on there and smudge it around. You're going to be so excited when you see how easy it is to cut that die. Because I know if you're a demonstrator and you've seen it, or if you've been watching other people's sneak peeks, because I haven't done one with it yet, although you're going to get 2 in a row, because at the event, after the leadership event, there's a stamping event, and anybody can come to it that's a demonstrator. My girls that I'm going with, we're doing a shoebox swap, and I'm doing the die with it again for them, just because it is one of those dies, because when I saw it, I thought, that looks like it could be difficult, so I want them to use it, because it's not difficult at all. In fact, the first time I used it, you assume it's going to be difficult. So you're like, well, I'm going to try this, this, and this. And then it cut perfectly. And I'm like, yeah, that was easy. But then when I decided to do it for these, and you're going to do it 20 times, I was like, let me see if it can be done any easier. And it's going to be so easy, you're going to be, yeah, I have to have that. Because what it does to the paper is stunning. So you can see I'm just putting it over the tops of where I have pencil. If there's no pencil, it doesn't get shimmer, because you don't want the whole thing to be sparkly. And go from color to color. Don't mix the colors, and just get a tiny bit of the shimmer on here, and do your black last, because you don't want your black to smear. The only place that I'm going to go everywhere is because I did put orange everywhere. I might not hit everywhere, and that was part of the reason I went sideways, so it didn't have to all blend. You can see it's already getting lighter, the ink, as it dries. And try not to smear my black into it until the very end. Oh, and now I might have a helper. What you doing, bub? You can't stay there. You're going to have to move. The day I was sick, I might put a couple of the shots on my website, because the day I was sick, it was like they both knew I was sick, and I think they thought I should be in bed, and I was trying to stamp these, and they both insisted, like I had a fairly clean desk to start out with, but they just thought I had cleaned it off so they would have some place to sleep. So they literally just kept coming up onto my table and sleeping. Go on, Bubs. Hop out. Go. go. So there you go. You can see it. I don't have my lights turned on because it's sunny. But you don't want the whole thing to be shimmery. So especially on the flowers. And the butterfly's a little bit more shimmery. There you go. I don't even have my lights on the table, partly because it's retiring time of year and I'm trying to get all of the stuff that's gone. And so then I've already taken these two pieces. There's a flower and a couple of leaves. They don't have dies, so you have to fussy cut them. This is one of the punches, but I'm not going to use it because it was too much. And when you're doing 20 cards, you take away all the stuff that's too much. So now let's do the die. And you're going to be so excited because it's so super easy. I can't believe that he didn't knock those stamps over, and now I am. So let's pull the big shot up here. And I do have to stand up because it's a big die. So it does take muscle, but it only takes muscle once. You're just going to put it through one time. So the secret I found is this side up. So you're going to go cutting side up. Oh, that, you know, where I feel like the hair is touching me? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's my imagination. Nope, there it is. I got it. Okay, so these are cut a quarter size because I didn't want to have to cut after. The die is actually, I think it's probably sized for European and Australian cards, and that's not where we are. So I just went ahead and cut these 4 1/4, so they're card front size. Put it in your big shot, this blade side up, which is backwards, and I have ink on my hand. Wipe it off. It's from when my stamp fell over there. So, you know, sometimes people complain on videos because our fingers are dirty. Well, you know, if you're bothered by us having dirty fingers, then go watch cleaning videos or something, because this is a dirty hobby. I don't know what to tell you, but literally people complain about it. Okay, so all you're going to do now, and it takes just a tiny bit of muscle. And can you see it over here? So the first time I did it, I flipped it around and I did it again. You may have seen me on Facebook Live. The very first time I ever used this set, I took it out of the packaging on Facebook Live. I had never even used it. And look. So on your big shot, you may need something different because everybody's big shot is different. I will tell you, I have 3 big shots. Overkill, I know. My daughter currently has one at her house, so I only have 2 of them here. But I tried it on both of mine, and this worked perfectly on both. Now you're gonna get to see my trash can. This die brush is on low inventory. There will be a new one that comes out that hooks onto the end of our Take Your Pick tool that has the same tip. At least it appears to. I don't have one. So if you don't have this, you will need to get it. And if you want this one, I kind of like having one that's not attached to my Take Your Pick tool. So I may order another one of these. Just roll this over. So as you can see, it was one pass. And you'll want to do this while it's still in here because it kind of turns the paper. It feels more like material just because there's so many holes. I mean, it feels more like lace. So you want to do this while it's in the die because it gives it much more stability. But did y'all catch that? It was one roll, blade side up. You don't need any fancy angles. You don't need any fancy shims. You don't need any other materials. Nothing. Literally nothing. And you can see they're all coming out. It does make a humongous mess. That's why I have a big bucket here. At first I was trying to do them into here like I normally do. And then I tried to do them into my little Stampin' Up! Pop-up bin. And they were all over the table. Look. Can you see? I mean, there's a few of them and they're just, because I haven't. So then just take your hand. You could get, like if you want to get fancy, you could get, way back in the day, I still have it over there. I should have grabbed it. You could get a lint roller and roll it to get it. But really, I am always for die cutting stuff, make it as simple as possible. And that's simple. And because I'm doing this vanilla cardstock on vanilla cardstock, my cat's playing in the hallway. If there's a couple of little things left in there, nobody's going to notice. So literally pull this baby out. And again, I'm doing it over my trash can now because they're everywhere. Look. And see what I mean? It becomes, and I did do one for this card. I've done a couple of them the whole 11 inches long. Because if you saw it on the sample on the cover of YouTube, I'm cutting them in sections and I actually get more of them. But you could do candle wraps, you could do sleeves for wedding invitations if you do longer pieces. But it becomes like, you don't want to look at my trash can? Because I'm done with the trash. It breaks down the fibers because there's so many holes. That's why you want to use this while it's still in your frame. Now, what I did was you flip it upside down, and I want to do like a window. So let's go this way and use this edge. And then I'm going to mark it with just a pencil. That's why I'm doing the back side. And I'm going to cut this one. So then pop this up here. There is a way that for my swaps, because I was doing a lot, that I figured out how to do it. See, look, they're everywhere. I was doing 2 of these at once, but it takes a little bit of imagination. Once you are doing this, you can figure it out. But I'm just going to show you, this piece also comes with it, and it cuts these out. So here's my mark on the back side, and it just makes these cut out. So I'm on it here, and then I have some washi tape. You want to not go speed bump because you could snap your die, which means speed bump if you're driving in your car, you know you're going to go over a speed bump, so you don't want to send it through your big shot that way. And then I'm going to use some washi tape because you don't want this to move, because if it moves, obviously then it's not going to be straight on here. So I was figuring out, I was measuring them both at the same time, this and the other one. I'm not going to do that. It'll be faster for me to just show you this way. And you have to do each card individually, unless you could put the stamps maybe in your Stamparatus and pre-cut all these. But you know, I was feeling sick and it was easier just to stamp. And then my husband doesn't know it, but tonight he's going to get the pleasure of finishing these off for me because he doesn't mind the big shot. In fact, if you watch my videos, you may remember my trades from, a lot of people watch the videos of that one. My trades from Orlando, they had a ton of big shot cutting because I did the snowflakes from the Snowflake Showcase. And it had a lot of snowflakes with the buffalo check. And he cut all of those for me. So see, then it cuts it like this. And this will go here. So we're almost done. It just needs, now we need this other piece. So see, before I was marking both of them at the same time. But now I'm just going to cut it. And then once you have some washi tape on there, the washi tapes last for about maybe 4 or 5 of them before it has. So stick this on here. And see what I mean about if there's 1 or 2 little things still in there, nobody's going to notice because it's vanilla on vanilla. So now I'm going to take this one. The reason I've been doing this is the prettier edge. This is kind of choppy. It's not so pretty, but I'm putting ribbon up here so nobody notices. So just stick this one up here, flip your card over. Or you can do it in the big shot so you get 2 of them at once. But it takes a little, you have to measure. I don't want to measure for the video. And really, it's just as, my husband won't mind measuring, but that really works. And then you end up with all these pieces, and because I was doing swaps, I'm going back through and finding which one these work for, and then matching those to cards. So, you know, if you're doing a lot, that works. So I've already got these, and these are, I stamped 2 leaves and a cherry blossom for each card. I've already colored and cut these out because I have a couple of sheets that I've done because I'm doing a bunch of them. And I had every intent of doing them during the Survivor finale last night. But if you watched Survivor, it was like a great season. So let's see, where do I want to stick them on here? I'm going to flip it upside down so I can look. Every card gets them in a little bit of a different place depending on how my butterfly ended up. This butterfly's kind of actually made it onto his... You know, sometimes when you're stamping with the red rubber, you can have floating butterflies, which at least butterflies fly. So if they're floating, not such a huge deal. And then your leaves, same thing, kind of just wherever you might need some filler. So I'm going to stick these here. And it just gives a little bit of 3D dimension. You can see where I was kind of going with wanting to use this, but the scale of these made too much lace. There was too much lace and I didn't like it. Because this little guy was smaller, like you were gonna need a ton of them. And it was too many butterflies, too much lace, so I didn't like it. So then this is some polka dot tulle that I have dyed, and I have videos on my Facebook on how to do it. I put the whole spool in Old Olive refill in water and let it soak for a couple of days, and then just air dried it and then wound it back onto a spool. Yes, I do know that there are other ways to do it. I'm well aware, because every time I share this, people share with me all of the other ways there are to do it. And one way is blends. And if you're doing one card, then by all means use a blend. I'm not going to suck up all of my blend ink to do 20 cards for a trade. Or if we do this card, we may do it at my June camp. I'm not going to let, you know, everybody at camp use my blends to color their ribbon, because it literally took like 10 drops of Old Olive refill. And I have lots of Old Olive refill from... I probably still have bottles from the 90s. So to me, I'd rather use that up than use my beautiful blends to color ribbon. And this doesn't rub off. It doesn't get on your fingers. Super easy to do. And as you can see, I have a whole spool. The card that I'm going to take to my shoebox swap also has dyed ribbon. Again, it's demonstrators using it. But I dyed it, and then I don't have to worry about other people using my blends to color their ribbon. And it's faster. It's already done. So, you know, if I have 6 projects for them to make at camp, we don't have to waste time coloring ribbon. So there's that. And then I wanted to give it just a little bit of wisp of nature. So this is our linen thread, which is a carryover. So just cut a little strip of it. And then tie it over here. I am going to maybe send the dye home with my daughter so she can try this on her big shot as well. Because if we're 3 for 3, then I'm thinking it's a pretty good, because I have, one of my big shots is from the month they came out. And then one of my big shots is maybe halfway through the time that we've had big shots. And then one of them I bought in January of this year before I knew that Stampin' Up! Was coming out with their own die cutting machine. So I have them 15 years old, 8 years old, and a brand new one. So if it works on all 3 of mine, I would have a hard time believing that it won't work on the vast majority. That said, I do know that some of them, you know, have different... You know, they just roll different, but So there you go. Let me show you the difference between a freshly inked ink pad and the ones that I was stamping before. You know, not hugely different, but this is a little darker. And I liked the slightly grayer tinge I was getting with that. But there's that. Let me show you real quick if I can reach it. I'm going to record this maybe later today, but here's my shoebox swap. This is a hostess set. This, one of my poofy ribbons. But this is, again, using the whole sheet. This one we didn't cut. So, but that's my shoebox swap. So, get this die. In fact, I may do, sometimes my online class, I haven't decided. I may offer 2 in June, and my online classes are free. So, but because I just love this. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And I know that people are going to see it in the catalog and think, oh, that's too hard. Not hard. One roll, literally one roll. No more than just the frames, just the things that cut things out. So that's what I have for you today. And I'm so happy I made this through without coughing, but I'm getting ready to cough. So I'm going to say goodbye now. Everybody have a great day. Bye.